So another big weekend of racing action due to come along. It's Betfair Chase weekend, and making his debut in the Timeform studio is our analyst Chris Hilliam.
There we are. Nice weekend to start.
Yeah, not bad at all. And speaking of which, we're going to jump straight into Haydock, I think, with the 150 handicap hurdle. And you've got a fancy in this, but the current favourite is Black Mischief.
Yeah, you can see why it's favourite. It's got Johnson taking over. Fell last time. I'm struggling to see why it should be such a short price. It's up another £2 from that run, and it wasn't certain to finish any better than third when it came down last time. It may well have won, it depends how much it have found. It's a very competitive race, there's a lot you can give chances to be fair. Mr Antolini made an encouraging return, obviously won the Imperial Cup last year. So, handicap mark still looks fair, that's going to have a chance. Cyrus Darius is an interesting one, trailer change. Left the Jefferson Yard, got to Colin Tizard, had a wind up as well, so I mean if we find an extra couple of pounds of improvement for the wind up, then I can see that going close. Obviously not the horse it promised to be in about 2015 when it looks like it had the world at its feet, but still very useful in his own right. But the one I fancy is Magic Dancer. With Kerry Lee, improved a lot when joining that yard last season. Made a very encouraging return when the second behind one that's won again since of Richard Newlands. I think we fancied it on this preview a couple of weeks ago, Magic Dancer, and I think the run just came a bit too soon. It's too early to forget about the promise it showed, but the market seems to have forgotten about the promise it showed on that return, so I think at the prices, good each way bet. I can't see being out the top three if he runs his race, and every chance of winning, to be fair. Yeah,
he's 10 to 1 at the moment, Magic Dancer, and I think you're probably right with Cyrus Darius. He's 11 to 2. I think the Colin Tizard factor's really shot him up in the market.
Yeah, definitely. When I first started looking at the race, obviously Cyrus Darius is top rated, so that's where I started. I was drawn to his chances, but as I got further down the card and then saw the price, I think I'd just favour Magic Dancer with how they are at the minute in the betting.
Yeah, it should be interesting as well, because it isn't going to be as soft as we're used to it at Haydock.
It's not. We usually get Haydock heavy ground, don't we? Which is a different type of ground if you listen to some people this time of year.
Yeah, there is plenty of time though. Living not too far away from Haydock, it really doesn't take very much for that place to. It really is like a sponge.
They don't fancy any coming, do they? I know we touched on the Betfair Chase when we get to it, but Twisted Davis is still umming and ahhing whether there's going to be enough soft in the description for Bristol. They might have to run. I think there probably will be. We might get a drop overnight, but as you say, a drop might be enough to change it dramatically at Haydock.
So yeah, we'll jump on now to the 225, a Stayers handicap hurdle, and the market seems to think there's one in here with a really good chance in the form of First Assignment. He's 6 to 4 at the moment.
They do, and you can see why. I just backed this horse last week. I'd had a few drinks. I was off last weekend. I was sitting at my mate's room, and I'd lost the first couple of races. I'd had a lucky 15, and this was next. And I did go for a short price. Then it was gambled on, but it was a decent enough price when I backed it on the morning. And it shot well clear coming around the home turn, but there's a loose horse in the way. And when you've had a bad day, and especially if you've had a couple of drinks, I was being one of the irate punters, sort of shouting for the horse to get out of the way. And luckily, Tom O'Brien, who was back on board again, he rode it well enough, stayed out of the way, and as soon as there was distance between them, it was just need to stay on his feet really. Only a £5 penalty for that run. I think it won by 11 lengths, plenty in hand. It's due to go up £13 for that run, so essentially £8 well in. Can't see it being beaten. It would be something I'd be backing at that price though. There is a couple of interesting ones up against it, but it's just with the advantage of the weight that First Assignment's got, why it's so short. I mean, you've got a horse such as Folsom Blue, who is essentially thrown in on his chasing form. He isn't as good a hurdler as his chasing, not had many tries since joining Elliott, who has improved him last season since getting him. Johnson on board as well. And you've got Captain Catty Snock, who we assumed is going to go chasing. He's looked a horse to follow for novice chasing this season, so quite surprised he's been kept over hurdles. That might be a sign in itself that Nichols believes it's good enough to go win this race, so we have to take notice of that. And you've got Paisley Park, who won a race when we were at Aintree, weren't we, on
He did,
Timeform race day a couple of weeks ago. Which was all fun and games. I didn't back that, did you?
No. I'm not worth following on any Timeform race day.
I think I had Byron Flyer in that race who ran a stinker. I thought he might go in. There's a few hurdles omitted because of the low sun. Essentially turned into a flat race up the straight. So Paisley Park wouldn't be one you'd necessarily say would be a speed horse. So it was a good effort to win that when he was more of a test of speed. So he'll be suited by sort of more of a test of stamina on this. Yeah, so I think first the time will win, but I wouldn't be advising backing it with so many others who you can make a case for.
Yeah, as you say, with Captain Catterstock, Paul Nicholls, the master of picking up these prizes. He seems to sweep up these pots every week.
Well, he's not got the real superstars, if you like. Not had them for a few seasons, has he? So he's learned how to place his horses very, very well to maintain his challenge for the Trainers' Championship, hasn't he?
He has indeed, and I've done myself no justice at all because I tipped Roden on the website to win the big race that day. So pints on me. Next up though at Haydock is the Betfair Chase, and this looks on paper one of the best renewals we've seen for years, possibly ever.
It does indeed, it certainly does. No cue card this year, unfortunately.
No.
It was a standing dish. His powers were on the wane last year, weren't they, when Bristol Demai gave him an absolute trouncing. That was on, as we discussed, Haydock heavy ground, which Bristol Demai absolutely loves. Loves the track as well. He's 3 from 3 at the track, so it wasn't just a case of that was his cup final, if you like, last year.
Because he did the same with the Tommy Whittle, didn't he?
He did.
About 11 months prior to that, he
Yeah.
absolutely hosed up
Yeah.
again. He seems to be about 10 to 15 pounds better at Haydock Park than anywhere else.
Yeah, I mean, it's just his style and the way the track is, where he just gets into a rhythm, galloping up front. If his jumping's on point, which not always is, but if his jumping's on point and he's allowed to run off there, then he's dangerous. I know he's not. I thought he might be a little bit bigger than that. I wouldn't have him any bigger than that. I think the market's pretty much spot on, to be fair. I thought he'd be a bit bigger than that because people seem to be dissing his chances just because we haven't got the heavy ground. But we know Bristol Demai, and Nigel Twiston Davis probably knows he's not going to win at Cheltenham. Probably won't win the King George, so he'll be trained to the minute for this race. Whereas, and I'm not saying Might Bite or Native River won't be fit enough to win the race. They will, but will they be at 100%? Probably not, because they both wanted to go back and win at Cheltenham, won't they? So Thistlecrack's an interesting one as well.
Yeah, I mean, he's 10 to 1 at the moment, Thistlecrack.
He is.
If the Thistlecrack turns up, I mean, we could be sat there wondering, wow, how on earth we ever let him go off with that price.
Well, I was looking just before we came in how Thistlecrack's best performances go against those of Native River and Might Bite, and Thistlecrack was rated 180, and he's going into the Cotswold Chase where he was beaten by Many Clouds, which is £7-8 better than what we've got Might Bite and Native River likely to run to tomorrow. So yeah, if the Thistlecrack turns up, you're going to be wondering why on earth he was allowed to go for 10 to 1. I reckon there'll be some money for him tomorrow, just because he's a likeable horse, isn't he? People will get on the like a story, don't they, the racing public. So if you're on that, you get a prize. Probably got off about. I think I'll go a third favourite.
Yeah, I think the thing with Bristol Demai is that Might Bite is going to, you'd think, make the running, so it's not going to really play to his strengths.
That's another interesting thing. You've got Native River will be up there. Might Bite likes to be up there. Bristol Demai likes to be up there. Some people are going to say Clanders over might be able to pick the pieces up off a overly strong pace, but I don't think that's going to happen. I think the jockeys will be aware of what's going to happen. We might even end up with a slightly falsely run affair if all the jockeys think there's going to be a strongly run race. A couple of them might decide not to go forward, and hopefully we just get a true pace and the best horse wins. We know all about Might Bite and Native River, don't we?
Yeah, do you think there's any chance that we could see a repeat of the thrilling finish of the Gold Cup where it was really one of the biggest duels of the season?
I hope so. There's certainly every chance. This is slightly shorter distance, isn't it, and a less stiff track, which both played to Might Bite's hands, hence the prices. Might bias the class here. Native River's got the guts. They're both phenomenal jumpers. Again, it's the same as Cheltenham. Does Mike Bite's class carrying past Native River, or does Native River find enough to hold him off, assuming that Native River's ahead coming into the straight? I think Mike Bite will win. If Native River was a slightly bigger price, I'd probably back Native River. I won't be having a bet in the race because I just think it's such a good race that I just want to watch it. I just want to enjoy it.
Yeah, you might be the same as me. I'm going on the match tomorrow, but I think I might find myself sneaking off at 3:05 watching the Betfair Chase.
Yeah, well, we've got the rarity of a 3 o'clock kickoff at Ellen Road tomorrow on a Saturday. Probably one of the only weekends that I'd rather not, so I could watch the race. And so yeah, I'll try and watch it on my phone, or certainly catch a replay at half time.
Sky Sports doing you in again with the kickoff.
Yeah, the only time you want it changing, and you Saturday 3 o'clock, so you missed a big race, but hey ho.
So the final race at Haydock is the 3:35 that's on the ITV, and it's a handicap chase. There's plenty of strong stayers in here, but with the added dimension of the ground being potentially a bit quicker, it might turn this on its head, because the original candidates you might think, oh well, they might need a bit further.
Yeah, there is that. I haven't even taken the ground into consideration that much when looking at this race. I can pick holes in most of them, really. All bywise, I mean, anyone who's watched racing the last few years knows about all bywise. It's going to be too much of a test of speed. He likes to pick the pace up late when it is a stamina test. If he's not going to get as far back as he would if it was a bigger field, but a bigger field would suit him because he would be able to pick the pace up. Very rarely wins, does he? Won a veterans race at the back end of the last campaign and gone up in the weights and didn't look like getting anywhere near last time, so I could rule him out safely, I'd say. But you never know with him, he might just turn up, but watched him enough times to know not to back him.
You'd think as well that Vintage Clouds is going to have targets later in the season, namely one at Aintree that he's routinely aimed at in the Grand National.
Yeah, and his style of running, he can sometimes switch off a little bit. I mean, there's a few in the office who are waiting for him to get some headgear on him. Because you look at his record, very rarely out the frame, not a great percentage of wins.
Reminds me of the other Hemmings horse, Cloudy Dream, because they're completely different profiles in terms of the distances, but they're both equally frustrating.
I sometimes sort of, if it wasn't for the distances, I think you'd probably confuse the two, I think just a quick look at his record, as you say, you will have targets later on in the season. I think you can put a line through that one when it's such a trappy affair as well. I think Captain Redbeard just stands out for me, essentially. Great track record. Very encouraging return over hurdles when he tends to lead his run as well, so it looked like he probably needed it in the end, but run a lot better than he has on his return the last 2 seasons, so hopefully that's a sign that he's in tremendous health. And if he comes on another 5-6 pounds for that run, he can certainly win from this mark. 2 who won last time, isn't there, in Bracador and Taking Risk? Both won last time out.
Big prize Taking Risks, 16-1 at the moment.
Yeah. They both won pretty weak affairs last time out, especially compared to what this should be on paper, but as we've said, it has cut up a little bit and there's not too many can make big cases for, but still it's a 0 to 145, which is better than the races they were winning last time. You just look at them both and you just think they're probably not going to be able to win off this high mark. I think the main danger could be Delusion of Grandeur, who is falling to the same marker which he won. Around this time last year, actually, the Catterick race that he won has been run today.
Is that the Grand National one, or is that different? Because I know he's a regular in the North Yorkshire Grand National.
North Yorkshire National Catterick. I don't think it was that race, so I might be wrong. He does tend to run in that one, yeah. He went on and finished a close third in a very exciting Roland Merrick Chase last year.
I was there for that. It was a thriller. Yeah.
He was third in that for good. I think I backed him or the other Sue Smith horse in that race.
Jaeger. No, was it Taviega won it? I don't think.
Yeah, get on the Jaeger won, didn't he? I think Sue Smith come second and third. But anyway, if he reproduces that form, which was off an £8 higher mark than what he runs off today, as we said he won from Miss Matt last year, then you give him every chance. Hasn't really reproduced that since, hence why I've got a query on his rating. He's top rated but with a query, so yeah, we'll go with Captain Redbeard. I just think there's less holes in him than anybody else, and the price of 3-1 in the 6 for a race, I've got every chance there.
Yeah, he's about 5-2 at the moment. And I'm right in thinking he absolutely hosed up at Haydock on Grand National Trials Day last year. I might be getting completely off the mark here, but it all
I'll tell you if it was that day. He certainly has hosed up at Haydock, yeah, because I think he's not been out of the frame in sort of 6 or 7 visits to Haydock. A couple of wins in there as well, so.
Yeah, very safe proposition, and we'll switch over to Ascot.
Right.
Because we've got a Grade 2 action there as well on ITV in the form of the Kristian 1965 Chase. And the favourite at the moment is Politolog. He's 11-10. I thought he'd be shorter than that, I must admit. And, well, I'm going to ask you instead, are you surprised to see him here rather than in the Betfair Chase?
No.
No.
I think, as we've mentioned earlier, Nichols had turned into this master of placing his horses, and I can't see him not winning this race, so he's just going to pick up the prize money, isn't he? It's 70 grand, he says, at the top there, so it looks easy money to me. I'm, like you just said, I'm surprised he's not shorter in the betting. We looked at the Betfair Chase, and he's a similar sort of price to Might Buy, who's facing much classier opposition, and I just can't see how the prices could be the same. I can't see any dangers to Politolog. He's won fresh the last 2 seasons, so you've got no problem about that. Trip's fine, the ground's fine. He's got Twisted Davis on, who's a freelance jockey now, so he's not with Nichols, but he's retained the partnership, so that can only be a positive.
Penalty a concern? A couple of pounds to the field?
I just feel he's just too good for them. Obviously, the Timeform adjusted ratings still have him top, but not by as far as they would be off level weights, obviously. But yeah, I just think he's too good. The closest one on our figures is Charbel, who's been put in his place in a couple of races. He's been with Politolog. The Tingle Creek last year was 3rd or 4th, wasn't he, Charbel? And Politolog was a winner of that, so.
Can't trust him mistakes-wise either, really, Charbel, can you?
You can't, no. If you take a literal read of his form last time, that was probably his best run when he beat Baron Alco, who went on to win the Betfair Gold Cup at Cheltenham last week, but he was race fit up against horses who weren't race fit, so maybe slightly flattered, to be fair, but even a reproduction of that run, probably not good enough to beat Politolog. Bellatar is interesting, but I'd like to see him in a handicap. Disappointed he's turning up in a 6-runner. Conditions event, really, Grade 2 event. I think he might pull a bit too hard. Depends on who's going to go forward. Not a striking amount of pace there, is there? Yeah, I'd like to see Bellatar in that race last week. Baron Alco, one of them, maybe Gary Moore kept them apart, but I think if we see him in a valuable handicap, I'd certainly be interested in him there. But yeah, it's not the race for me for him. This one, I think, might just be overly keen. Wouldn't be surprised if he finished second, if he so improved. But yeah, just one to note for handicaps for him, I think.
Okay, so Politolog, a confident selection there.
Very much so, yeah.
Another Grade 2 up next as well on the Coral Hurdle, 240. Looks a match race on the betting between If the Cat Flips and We Have a Dream, but it'd be really rude not to give a shout to Old Guard as well at 11-2.
It would be, yeah. I considered tipping this up as an each-way bet. Obviously, if one of the two at the head of the market falls or is below par, then Odegaard, you'd say, would finish second or challenge for the first. So, not necessarily a bad each-way bet, but it needs both of them to fail to win, doesn't it? So you are essentially just betting to finish second. I wouldn't put anyone off putting a bet on place only to finish second if you've got odds, fanciable odds. But the other two, it's just a rematch from the Elite Hurdle, isn't it? Where they were both essentially outspeeded by the thriving and race fit, possibly more importantly, Verdana Blue.
You've got the sex allowance as well on top of that.
Yeah, exactly. Everything was in Verdana Blue's favour there. I'd say these two are better horses, or certainly proved better horses by the end of this season. This is about 3 furlongs longer trip as well, isn't it? 3.5 perhaps. Which looks like it'll suit them both. We Have a Dream certainly looked less pacey than If the Cap Fits, and certainly Verdana Blue in the Elite Hurdle, If the Cap Fits. Really lacked the pace of Verdana Blue, but maybe just lacking in peak fitness as well, would be the first one back. I can't split them. You probably want me to split them, won't you? But
No, not at all. I mean, you've got the Timeform figures in front of you. I thought it was really interesting at first glance to see if the Cap Fits in front of We Have a Dream and open to improvement as well. We seem to really favour if the Cap Fits.
We do on the ratings, which so it was Martin who does the handicapping. Obviously, when it's a race like that, he's just going to have. But if you're rating them on what they did last time, and if the Cap Fits beat We Have a Dream by a good few lengths, so he deserves to be top rated if we're transferring them figures across. I'd say We Have a Dream's probably open to improvement, stepping up in trip as well.
Yeah,
personally.
Be, yeah.
So I think he's just going to be whoever finds the most improvement for the longer trip. And If the Cap Fits has raced at Somerset trip last season, goes back up in trip, whereas We Have a Dream is up at the first time. So should be another good race. Should be a really good race.
Yeah, likely to prove highly tactical this, because we've got 3 absolute no-hopers. I mean, no offence to Tom and Jerry and the Raven Black and co, but it should be a good race.
Raven Black probably go for the front, might I imagine. So at least somebody will go forward. But yeah, they're just there to pick up a bit of prize money, and if the race is cut up, if one of them can finish third or fourth, then picking up a bit of money out there, it's worth going. But yeah, you can't really give them a chance, can you? No.
So we'll move swiftly over to the last race, because you've got a fancy in this as well, a Handicap Chase 315. There's a few informed types coming into here, and Modus seems to be backed every single time for these races, but it's Surname that's catching your eye.
It is, yeah. I know we were talking before we came on here, and you were surprised I picked one in this race. But these are the races I like to get stuck into. The large field handicaps, I just like sort of trying to find which is the best handicap, really. It's sort of what gets me going in a punting point of view. As you say, Modus is always favourite in these types of races, and he's for about 2 or 3 years now. He's supposed to be better than he's ever proved, isn't he? Or so the support that comes in for him would have you believe. He just doesn't jump well enough, does he? I think that's why I'm taking him on. He doesn't jump well enough. He wins. He won 3 races last season. He's won first time out this year. It's probably his best performance as well. Can't see him being any better than that now. I think he's past his chance where he had the chance to fulfil that potential everyone thought he had in the early days. I've gone with Surname, who's, if you look at the two, if you had a split screen of the two jumping the same fences, I mean, the difference would be amazing. Surname, just a very likeable, bold jumping front runner. Modus will be held up. Garrity will try and sneak him into the race. If he does and they come up the straight and they're close by, I mean, you think Surname will just win it on the jump, and if there's 2 left, and Surname's going to take at least a length out of it over the fences, you'd imagine. So that's why I've gone that way. Like I said, there are another few you can make cases for as well. Also, the Oscars started the season in good form.
Ran a blinder, didn't he, at Exeter?
He did, yeah. He was short price though, wasn't he? And you just think, was that his race? Was that the best he was going to win this season? Probably about the same level of competitiveness as this, wasn't it?
Yeah, and back in handicap company here, so he's got to give weight away.
Yeah, I think Nod Johnson on board as well. He's obviously chosen to go to Haydock to ride. He'll be thereabouts, but he's up another £2, isn't he, from last time he ran in a handicap where he was beaten, so I just think probably just high enough in the weights, coming top weight around there. The Inval is a horse I've backed a good 4 or 5 times, and these tends to be an end of the season horse, and in the festivals Cheltenham, Aintree and Ayr as well. Tend to back you. If you back him each way at 10 to 1, you always get your money back, so I'm not losing on him, but it can be frustrating because just always seems to shape well without quite getting there. But it tends to come good later on in the season, so you'd imagine he's probably not trained to the minute for this one. He'll improve as the season goes on. On his best form, he'll have every chance, but he'll probably save that to the end of the season. One who may throw a spanner in the works for my pick surname, as I touched on, is, we'll go from the front. Speredek is another one who tends to race prominently and sort of tries to jump boldly, sometimes overly boldly, and makes a couple of errors. Hopefully it won't take surname on and it won't go too fast. I think if surname gets into a good rhythm out in front, isn't going too fast, I don't think they'll get past him. He'll come on for that run last time he ran against, it's a lovely little 5-runner, is it Graduation Chase or
possibly, yeah.
Mr. Whittaker was the winner, who came out and ran up to his mark again last week in the Betfair Gold Cup. Happy Diva, I think finished 4th in the Graduation Chase race, who shaped very well before. Was he brought down in the race, Happy Diva, last week? I think she was brought down in the Gold Cup when travelling well. So form's held up. And Surname looked like the one who probably caught a bit for the run in that race. He was collared about 3 or 4 out, if I remember correctly. Rallied again between the last two, and then just sort of found his effort petering out, and the running as Mr. Whittaker, as always, was finishing strongly. Who else have we got who can make a chance?
It's wide open, isn't it? It's 9-2 the field, but Surname is the one that's sticking out for you as the percentage call. Would you go each way or win purposes?
Depends on what price are we on it, if you can get.
13-2, 7-1. If you particularly.
If you can get sevens, probably go each way at sevens. But just looking and you see the ones who are going 4 places, they're all skinny odds, aren't they? Trying to get you away from backing Surname each way, obviously. Just depends. If you can get sevens, I'd go each way. But anything shorter than that, we might as well go for the win. I would say if you're backing a horse each way, then you're backing it to win anyway. If you don't think it's going to win, you probably shouldn't be backing it unless the price is a long way away from what you think it should be. I think that's about right. Essentially, I'd have Surname favourite, which is why I'd say back here. I'd probably switch the two around.
Yeah, could get back tomorrow's Surname, particularly if connections do well throughout the day.
Yeah, that's the thing. If Politolog goes and wins as easily as I hope he does, I certainly think he does, then yeah, it's happened a couple of weekends recently, hasn't it, where money's come in for trainers who have enjoyed a good start to the day.
Yeah, well, Nichols got a 5-timer at Wincanton the other day, so it was the other week even, so yeah, it could be another
That's
another
his
good
track,
day.
isn't it, Wincanton?
Yeah, absolutely.
It's his track.
So I think I've got your answer. If I ask you for your nap of the weekend, it would be Politolog.
It's the one I think most likely to win, yeah. Do we want to nap an even shot, 10-11 shot?
That's okay. Most likely to win. We'll go with that line. Price doesn't matter as long as they win.
Well, yeah.
Well, the 5's on, maybe not.
We're making more money if Politolog wins than if we backed Hammersmith Lake, and Hammersmith Lake finished last, aren't we? So.
Fantastic. Well, we'll leave it on that note anyway, with Politolog to win by 3,000 lengths.